Hello and welcome to this live webinar event. And since you and I both know technology can sometimes really not work super well for me, if you can see and hear me as everybody starts joining into this live room, please in the chat, just type in yes. I just need a quick yes from somebody, the first person who was able to just jump into this live room. And a quick yes in the chat room just lets me know that you can see and hear me. Thank you, Monica. Barb, yay. Okay. Awesome. And I see some familiar names, and I love to see everybody kind of jump in. Great. Now that I know you can see and hear me, I want you to keep typing chat in that chat box where you're calling from. City, state, country. I just would love to know. Just fun to see. And it's fun for everyone else to see in the chat room who all's in, where they're calling from, because I know that staging is not just hot in North America. It is getting hot everywhere around the world. And that's just what's so exciting. So thank you guys. Yeah, a lot of people on the line. I'm so glad you could join me tonight. And I just want you to know it's just a privilege to be able to be in front of you and talk about how to become a stager boss, 10 tips to staging business success. And great. I love it. I can see that you're all on. We've got people jumping in. So what I like to do, if you're familiar with my live webinars, is if you can't see or hear me, it's usually something with your connection. Give it a moment. The screen will kind of settle and you'll be able to see me, or at least my presentation, which I'm going to jump into, and hear me okay. That's why I'm rocking the headset, because I want to make sure you can always hear me. So what I'm going to do now is go straight from this video to my presentation, so you can take a look at that and screen share. 10 tips to staging business success. I have a lot to go over for you. So first of all, who is this training live webinar for? It's for new home stagers, people who are just jumping into that industry. It's for those who are thinking about the industry. Maybe you're considering, is this something I want to do? Maybe you just sold your home and an agent said you should be doing this, or you're the go-to design person for your friend and you're like, maybe I just want to change things about. This is for you. Real estate agents who are looking to maybe add staging as a service. This live webinar is for you. Veteran stagers, you're going to learn something, all the time when you take these sort of things. So this is for you as well. And for design enthusiasts and colors lovers, for all of you, this is what this live webinar is for. So if you're one of these things, you're absolutely in the right place. We have a lot to go over. So what are you going to learn? I'm going to start with just the basics, the difference between staging and redesign, because I still find that some veteran stagers get that wrong. I'm going to talk about how to get started in staging and design. What are the logistics? Because usually that's where people go, how do I jump in? What do I need? And that's one of the great things about our industry. There's not much that you need. How to overcome fear, knowing the costs of starting, just kind of startup costs, and how to stay motivated, because becoming an entrepreneur is not, for everyone. Discovering your sweet spot and niche, kind of where the directions I've seen stagers take their business into success, and how much money you can make, as well as how to price your services. So especially if you're new, how do I price? If I go into a client's home, a consultation, and I'm trying to help them, what do I charge for that? And also when to say no. When is the client maybe not your client? How to take a phone order and create a structure for success, creating your brand, automating that marketing. I have a no cold calling approach to the way I teach marketing, and a special bonus and Q&A at the end. So you can see there's a lot to go over. If all of this stuff sounds pretty good to you, go ahead in the chat room, put, yep, looks good to me. And of course, I forgot to mention, in all my live webinars, I like to share stories and I like to share photos. So this is a before photo, and there's the after photo. Thanks, you guys. I love it. I can already tell I got a good chat room. Love when the chat room has fun. And of course, when you see these before and after photos, feel free to ooh and ah. I love this. Was actually an occupied staging, because you could see it's, believe it or not, this is the same couch, just positioned differently and styled beautifully, right? It's amazing what we can do as stagers. So for those of you who do not know me, because you're thinking, who is this person talking to me right now? My name is Audra Slinkey, and I'm president of the Home Staging Resource, which is the first online mixed media staging and design training company. Back in 2006, I launched that. And it was the first Real Estate Staging Association RESA accredited training. RESA is the training association for our industry. We were the first to become accredited with them. I'm a blogger for the National Association of Realtors and, of course, my business, which is HSR, Home Staging Resource, HSR for short, and recently voted #1 and #2 staging blogs by FeedSpot. So that was pretty cool. And winner of the RESA Innovator of the Year Awards 2013, 15, 17. So some of the awards, I'm really proud to be in this industry and proud to have trained some of the best stagers in the industry. So when you see this logo on a stager's website, that means they've gone through my training. So that's a little bit about me, but it didn't always start with me this way. It started with me being a mom years ago. I mean, I had an internet marketing company that was, before having kids. I had an internet marketing company. I was an international speaker, published author on internet marketing research. When the internet first came out, I just jumped on. I've always loved technology. And when I had my babies here, I decided, I don't want to do that. I want to do what I want to do. And when they got about this age, I thought, I love design. I've always had a passion for design. So if you're on the chat room and you have that passion and you just have that love for design, maybe your mom inspired you like my mom did, go ahead and put it in there. Because yes, you're in the right place. That's where I was. And so I thought, okay. And that's when I discovered staging. We had been flipping some of our own properties and I staged it. And sure enough, they sold for so much more. Jumped in and not really quickly, had my staging business, but really realized there's no training for stagers. So many people asked me, just like you, they said, Audra, how do I become a stager? And I remember, how could they possibly become a stager if they don't know web design? Back then there was nobody knew HTML or how to even do a website. There wasn't easy website builders like now. So I started a training that people could learn staging, and we also had a website just for stagers, different website styles. And we still offer websites with our training because I never want that to be a barrier. So flash forward to today, these are my boys. Yes, they're getting older. I'm sure a lot of you can kind of sympathize. It goes very fast, right? So let's get to that training. That was enough about me. Let's talk about all the stuff we're going to learn in this live webinar. And while we learn it, what I'm going to do is feature the work of 3 people, 3 of my members who have taken my training. Leah Ward took my training a year and a half ago. She graduated in January 2017. So that's where she is in her business. Corrine is my sister, Corrine McKendrick. And if you've ever gone to the RESA conventions, you've met her. She's always helped me, but she really never kind of officially kind of embraced her staging business. And she really started just a year ago in June. And Donna Panko Allen, she attended my webinar in October 17th. So she was in your seat in a webinar last October and jumped in, did the training, launched her business in January. So I love to tell real stories from real people and actually show you their real work. In fact, that last transformation was my sister. So she sends me her photos, which I love to see. So let's jump into understanding the industry. Kind of before you can really become a great stager, you have to really have a keen understanding of what is staging, what can we do for clients, and what is the outlook for staging, because it's changing. Our industry has evolved. It's tied into the real estate industry, so it's really evolved. What is redesigned home styling? What is the outlook for that? And also some recent statistics. So let's look at it all. First off, what is staging? Staging is using limited funds, practical creativity, objectivity. That's why sellers can't easily stage their own home, because they can't be objective. Market demographic knowledge, real estate knowledge, and extraordinary design expertise to professionally prepare a home to sell so that buyers fall in love. So if that sounds like a lot that stagers need to know to work their magic in a home, you're absolutely right. Kidding. But true, there's so much that we need to know. It starts with that extraordinary design expertise. So it starts there, and then the rest they kind of learn to make sure that the sellers are getting their return on investment. So we are very creative with design, and we stage for the buyers. So another before and after photo. I know you guys would love it. Can you imagine walking into this kitchen? Obviously, these people are in the middle of a move, but this is why staging works, right? Before, after. That before photo, even though I have seen some on the MLS like that, you don't see that as much these days because realtors know staging works. So what is the industry outlook for staging? And a lot of people have said, well, is there going to be another housing bubble? Because we are tied to the real estate industry just a bit, because when the real estate industry is booming, staging is booming. Staging booms. So that's the good news. But right now, we are not even close to hitting top in this housing market. There is no bubble on the horizon. These are just the stats of how low the housing starts. New home builders stopped building. Right? They just stopped in 2007, as you can see, and they're slowly recovered, but they're nowhere near what they were building at the top of that last bubble. You see, they have a long way to go. And in fact, in a recent article here, I always like to pull up recent articles. This is from Realtor Magazine. The U.S. alone needs 7.3 million more homes. And you guys, unless you've been living under a rock, right, there's a housing shortage. And that's a good thing for stagers, because while home staging is economy proof, in a housing market that's really going gangbusters, sellers can make so much money when their home is beautifully staged. And they know this now. In fact, in some recent statistics that we just took of our own, I took of my own membership, HSR members, so we have many, many members, over 4,200 homes, 85% of those staged homes sold for 6 to 25% more than their unstaged neighbor. I mean, imagine, I don't know what your area looks like in terms of homes, but imagine that seller getting at least 6% more. That same survey, 68%, so more than half of the 4,200 homes that were professionally staged sold for at least 9%. So imagine that. Now, go ahead and put it in the chat room. Do you think these statistics would be valuable to your business to talk to people? You want to get 9% more on the value of your home using, professional staging. That's the kind of statistics that we are seeing right now, because we're kind of in a funny market. Homes are selling fast, they're selling for more, and that's the verbiage. So what happens when people can sell for more? They have more equity, and they also have more disposable money, which leads to remodeling. Yeah, I love it. You guys get ready. Keep using that chat room, guys. I love it. Remodeling's on the rise. So what I see, I always tell people, get started into staging. Staging is the easiest way to market your business, but so many of my members, stagers, they get into staging, and before they know it, they're starting to do design work, because good staging turns into design, and remodeling is hugely on the rise. So for those of you who are like, well, what do you mean design? What do you mean staging? What's the difference? Well, redesign or home styling, it's called one or the other, is using what people already own. We start with what they already own and love in order to create a space that is harmonizing, functional, and personalized to the owner's lifestyle. It's the other coin of staging, really. What are we doing? Instead of designing for the buyer that's walking in the home, we're going in and we are designing for that owner. So it's just a tweak so that we're in tune to what the owner needs, their lifestyle, and we're designing for them like a designer. So a lot of stagers, this is Leia's work. She did a kitchen remodel. So imagine this before and after. Yeah, sometimes you just I could spend forever just on the before and after photos. I know you guys love to see them, but yeah, and it's beautifully styled too. And this doesn't happen overnight. Remember, Leia is the person that we're featuring that's been with my training and been longer. She's been doing this for over a year and a half. Yeah, beautiful. And her business is evolving. Didn't start out doing this. So this is just what I see happens. And that's what's so exciting about the staging industry, because it's a gateway to so much more work. And if you didn't believe me about residential remodeling being on the rise, look at this graph. This shows you how much designers, and in a recent study, I should have put on that Houzz, Houzz. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that site. Love it. They just did. Designers expect to still make even quite a bit more this year. So it's very exciting to see. Because at the end of the day, a well-done and well-positioned staging job should turn into move-in redesign. Why? Because home sellers are statistically far more inclined to spend money on the home they're moving into, right? They're kind of frustrated. So many times my stagers will tell me that they stage a home and the seller's like, oh, now we're leaving. Can you come into my new home? I love what you did. And now I want to live like that in my new home, right? That's why staging turns into redesign. That's one reason why I don't train just on staging. I train on staging and redesign. So let's talk about choosing you, because I know you all, whether you're new home stagers or most of you were thinking about this. I know for a lot of you, timing is an issue. It's something you've got to consider. The fear, how do I get started? Where do I go? What do I do? Entrepreneurship. Some of you think, I could never see myself as an entrepreneur, right? It's scary. Or finances have you wrong. So I'm going to address some of these kind of objections I hear to choosing you. And I love to just throw in quotes and cool imagery. So hopefully that's okay with you. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping that you're not letting your fear keeping you from doing what you love. And I love this photo that kind of made the space between where you are and where you want to be inspire you. Staging, if you love design, it's inspiring. As an industry, it's inspiring. If you look at a before photo like this and you see the after photo, I'm hoping you're inspired by that. If you're inspired by that, you're in the right place. We can overcome that fear. Let me show you how. This is how you know if this industry is for you. This is the true test, right, guys? First of all, you have to have that passion for all things design. You know, it just starts with that. And when people tell me that they don't really like design, they don't really care for it, they just want a home-based business, I tell them they're in the wrong place, because your passion is what will fuel your business. Staging is an art form, and there's really no formula for it. So even though I can, tell people kind of how to, you have been, from that passion, you have been training yourself on that art form for years. In fact, I would imagine that most of you, and I'm going to want you to put this in the chat room right now. How many of you right now in the chat room redecorated your room when you were a kid? I call it the sickness. I know that's not, but when I was a kid, my little bedroom, I think, was a 10 by 10, and I was always rearranging that furniture. If that's you, go ahead and put that in the chat room. Yes, Doris, yes, Sylvia, Carmen, I did. Stacy, yes, Denise, yeah, right? Okay, that is what I've discovered. Every single stager that I've ever talked to, this is the one thing they always did. Or if they didn't do it as a kid because they were probably sharing a room with a sibling, they do it now, right? They do it when they walk into a space. That's how you know you're in the right place. You're the go-to friend for design advice. You can't help but notice furnishings and spaces when you walk in. You love HGTV, design magazines. This is how you know if this is for you. And you assume that everybody redecorated the room as a kid. Only everybody on this line, probably. Trust me, people do not do that. My two boys, you just saw them. They have never redecorated or had an inkling of an interest in their bedrooms in their life. And I know so many friends who are like that. And that's what makes us special. It really does. Because the things you are passionate about, they're not random. They're your calling. They really are. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your calling and maybe making that happen for you. And let's see, what are the costs involved in staging? Because I get this question a lot. Training and guidance, because I told you that real estate knowledge, of forms, that sort of thing. But the good news is you don't really even need to go through any organized training. That's one of the beauties of our industry, to become a stager. You can just hang up a shingle and say, I'm a stager. The whole point to training is that you're saving yourself oodles and oodles and hours of time, and you're getting very specific guidance with what works. Marketing materials, you're going to need business cards. You're going to need, postcards or handouts for sure. It could be even just some paperwork. It's really, you don't need much. You're going to need a website, because that's the easiest way to market your business, is driving traffic to that website. And you're going to need your computer, a printer, and a cell phone. And all these things, by the way, are write-offs to your business. This is all just part of being an entrepreneur. And that's it. That's really the costs. In fact, home staging is one of the least expensive businesses you can start that you can actually make good money at. That's not a multi-level marketing. You're not you're not selling to your friends like a MLM, multi-level marketing company. That's not what staging is. Staging is a growing profession. A lot of professional stagers out there, and a lot of them started on that shoestring budget. You don't need inventory. Notice I didn't mention that. I'm going to talk about that in just a bit. So how do you get started? you got to consider what business type you want. Sole proprietorship, LLC, a lot of different choices. You can get that some of that information even online. You got to choose your business name and reserve your domain. Your domain is basically your website address where people are going to find you, and it should match your business name. Then you're going to create a website and your marketing materials, your sales stuff, and it better look good, guys. We're in an image industry. Organize your home office, or for some of us, kitchen desks. I've had stagers, that's where they start out. And that's okay because they start out from home. Outline your services and your pricing for each of the services that you want to provide for your clients. Outline your process for each service, and then create the forms for that. And away you go. Very good. A lot of people say, what? Focus on being productive instead of busy. That's what I always tell my members, and I love these little quotes. I shouldn't tell you guys too, because I'm seeing some questions on the chat room. I am going to answer questions at the end. So save your questions, write them down. You've got your notes, and I hope you are, because I'd love to answer those at the end of this session. And here's a before photo. This is a vacation rental. So another avenue for stagers, VRBOs, a coastal vacation rental. Not bad looking, but made a whole lot better, right? And so now they have these photos online. Do you think this is going to rent for a little bit more money? Go ahead and put that in the chat room if you think it will. I love what they did with this gallery wall. Pacific Home and Design. They did this, my sister. Great work. But you can see they used what they had. They just added some accents, redid the gallery wall, added some fixtures. Remember, staging isn't just furniture and pieces. It's also cosmetic stuff, guys. Stagers, so much we can do cosmetic. Obviously, you saw paint, light fixtures, and there's so many great choices now, right? So number 7, because I'm doing my countdown of the top 10 things you need to know, is how to stay motivated. Well, if you have the passion, you're already going to be staying motivated. But one thing I do in my training, is you have kind of this getting started guide, and it's 50 things that you need to do right away when you're getting started. Some of those things I just mentioned, and it lets you kind of check things off. I am a list maker, so I love to check things off. So how many of you are list makers? You can go ahead and put it there. And you have to also have a vision for yourself. Where do you see yourself? And you have to hold on to that vision. Do you want to be a luxury home stager? Do you want to just do it on the side? I have a lot of retirees who just want to do it on the side, or they do it in 2 different locations. I feature their stories in my blog if you've ever seen it. I love to feature different stories. Leia, when I first met her, she's a mom of like many kids. Like I can barely handle 2. I think she has 4, 5. Sorry, Leigh, if you're on the line. When I first met her, when she started her business, her goal was to be a luxury home stager. And you could see from that previous kitchen remodel, she's right there. So you have to have that vision, and you have to have a story. What is your relatable story? And by the way, all of you, everybody who's gotten into the staging industry has reinvented their lives into that field. I get that question a lot. Oh, I'm not an interior designer. I'm not a decorator. I don't think I could do this. Hardly anybody has that background that gets into staging. That's one of the beauty of the industry. We have nurses, we have hairdressers, we have teachers, we have, whatever your background is, they take that story and they put that into their new business. And that's what's so exciting. And they use that vision and they set goals and they tap into what motivates them. And I walk people through this, of course, in my training, but you have to be really clear on what your strengths, your weaknesses, which lead to your opportunities and threats. That's your SWOT. It's kind of business 101, but that's how you know. You capitalize on your strengths. You know who your weaknesses are, so you can outsource those, and you got to be accountable to yourself. And at the end of the day, love Steve Jobs, if you're working on something that you care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. I get emails all the time from my members who say they just can't even put the training manual down. I mail people a training manual when they sign up for the training. They can't put it down for both my trainings. They're just mesmerized. They're in bed, they've got the nightlight on, and their husband's totally annoyed. But it's great. I love to hear that. So let's talk about finding your sweet spot. Number 6, successful stagers know how to find their sweet spot. They either do a consultation-based business model or usually a vacant staging business. They dip their toe in both. That's important, but they need to know or be very clear on what each of them is so they can kind of focus on it. So let's talk about consultation versus vacant. If you have money to invest in inventory, remember I talked about what it takes to get started. If you have money to invest in inventory, a vacant niche can be good because you make money on that money, which is pretty awesome. You have your furniture in a home, you're making money on that. So you're making money while you're sleeping. If you have flexibility in time, you can work more hours because vacant jobs are typically bigger projects. If you don't like the client part as much, some of my vacant stagers, they just love that clean slate. They don't really work with the client as much. They're bringing in their stuff and they're reworking their magic. So that's kind of what my vacant stagers look like. And this is Leia's, luxury staging. This is what she wanted to do. She invested in some beautiful inventory, and look at this office. Look how beautiful that is. Love it, right? So let's talk about the consultation model, which is another great business model, especially for people with monetary constraints. I have people who say, I work full time. I can't quit my job. I say, don't quit your job to become a stager. You can work full time as you're going through and developing your staging business, going through the training. And that's what's great about the consultation business model, because you can start doing consultations in the evenings and on weekends. So a lot of my consultation bases, they have monetary constraints. They need the time flexibility. Maybe they're moms. Maybe they're working this around a full-time job, or maybe they're retirees. I've shared a lot of those stories, like I said. Or if they like, and you like to work with people and offer solutions, because that's what my occupied stagers do. They're in there. They're telling them what to remove, like that first photo set that I showed you. You could see a lot of the same, that first before and after, a lot of the same furniture. They just got rid of a lot of the junk. So they're offering those solutions, working with the client, and they love the challenge and creativity of working with people's items. So looking at those two business models, go ahead in the chat room. I'm just curious, any of these business models kind of speak to you? The consultation, this is an occupied consultation model. Beautiful home, right? But when they came in, look how much more beautiful. Notice they put a bench and pillows here to draw the eye to the window, right? We want people to see that view. They added a lot more life in the room with greenery. They layered, so they added more texture, because when there's a lot of light space, they had to add texture, layered the carpets, and they reworked the entire mantle space. And it just looks pretty fantastic, right? So how do you make money? And by the way, this kind of helps you with your pricing. How can you make money doing a consultation business model? Because people do say, well, I don't think you can make money doing that. Yes, you can. Let's say you have 2 staging consultations a week. That's $400, $200 each. Let's say you charge $200 per consultation. That's $400. And then one of those consultations leads to a staging day, which happens a lot, guys, because so many times you saw a lot of these before photos, the seller is totally overwhelmed. They need a little more handholding. They want you to come back for a day and help them. So that's $700. And then you add a color consultation. That's another $350. You get to charge more for your color consultations because they take a bit more expertise from a client. So if you just had those few jobs a week, that's $1,450 a week, or $72,000 a year. Not bad for a zero overhead business. Remember, there's no overhead with a consultation-based model, really. There's just your training. So that's 13 client hours a week, zero overhead. There you go. And if you added a day of redesign, because a lot of staging jobs turn into redesign at $700, then you'd be making over $2,000 a week, or over 6 figures a year on a 20-hour client week. And so this is just kind of going over some math with you. You can see this can be done. All right. The smart business model, though, if you're thinking of a consultation-based model, or you're a stager who wants to go that route, the smart business model always has to expand their services. Notice I talked about redesign. I talked about color. That's how they capitalize on repeat business. That's how they grow their business. So keys to the consultation success: you got to broaden your services. You got to upsell, redesign. So many stagers go into the consultation and they don't upsell their design services. The seller has no idea that's what they do. You got to start with staging, which leads to redesign. Consider e-design and color consultations. And the reason I like color so much, and that's why I created a training just for my members originally, but it's just really grown, is it's a gateway service. People are afraid of color, right? How many of you can say in the chat room, are a little uncomfortable with color? I have interior designers who have been designing for years who still kind of cringe at the idea of specifying color for their clients. definitely there is a formula to it. Color does offer a lot of bang for your buck. And trends, how many of you, go ahead and put it in the chat room, have you noticed the trends have changed? Have you noticed changing trends? I mean, it's just crazy to me. I mean, and it's moving quickly. I was just in a RISA chapter meeting last week, and they were asking me about trends because we went from the brown trend to the gray trend, now the white trend. And depending on where you are across the country, you find yourself, you know where you're at in that area. And it's just changing because the internet is so fast moving right now. So this leads me to my first limited offer, because I told you I had some special offers for you guys on the line, and I never discount my trainings, but I do it in the live webinar. So here is the color training. If you're interested in the color training to become a certified color expert, this is a limited time, and you can see the offers there. It's a discount price. Like I said, it's discounted $50. And even if you're on the fence, I recommend you just click on that webinar discount. If you click on that button, it'll open up in a new window and you can just think about it later, but at least you have the option. This training won the RISA 2017 Home Staging Industry Award. It beat out every staging training practically that was up against it, and color training. So I was really excited. I was really proud of that. And basically it's 6 modules. It takes about 3 days. It's online. It's at your own pace. And it just breaks down color. It starts with the basics, and then I move you into rules, how to interpret into the space. I have a very specific 6-step process so you can create the color palette, walk you through exactly how to position that consultation, especially if you want to expand your design business. I walk you through how to position it for more design work. And then, of course, none of my trainings would be good if I didn't give you my internet marketing essentials, because I have a no cold calling approach to marketing so that your phone is ringing. So you're going to get these color tools. You're going to get a step-by-step process. I take the mystery out of color and a really easy way to market it, because that's where I find a lot of color trainings or color stuff out there really fall short, is they go, great, I know color. How come I'm not getting any business? I'm going to walk you through how easy it is to get business through your website. And I also give you all the forms. And the thing that I really love, because even though I know and breathe and love color, I still sometimes, there's so many color choices, I have a cheat sheet for you, when to offer what color and how it works, and with the color swatch. So all of those forms I kind of give to you. So if you're interested in that, that is on there. You can think about that. And I love it. One of my HSR trainers did it, and she paid for the course with 2 presentations already. She didn't know that she could grow her staging business so quickly with color till she kind of walked through it. And that's kind of the cool thing about that kind of consultation business model. All right. So we are on number 5. Keys to success for stagers. They have structure to their business. And when they have structure, it gives them confidence, credibility. So it also gives them success. Really quick, I see Rashini had a question. Does the course give software? No, I have software recommendations I kind of walk you through on some of the Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams tools. So yeah, I do kind of walk you through that a little bit for how it would work for your consultation. It's a good question. All right, back to this. When you have a specific process you can follow for every service you offer, this is the key, guys, to success. A process for every service. You appear credible, you appear confident, you appear professional, and you are believable. Your client is never going to ask you, how long have you been staging? Because they trust that you're in control and you have confidence in your work. Now, you may be shaking in your boots. You may have had a sleepless night the night before because this is your first consultation or whatever service you're offering. But at the end of the day, believe me, I've been training for years. When you have a process, you know exactly what to do, how to handle objections, what scripts to use. Nobody's going to ask that question. And it starts with, this is kind of one of the things I offer. You can kind of get some ideas. Starts with the phone call. When you first get that phone call, this is an example of one of my kind of pre-appointment order sheets. When a realtor is calling someone, so make sure you're asking the right questions. What are we looking at? Is the home vacant? Is the home occupied? How big is it? How many days? All the right questions. And it's basically you're interviewing them, you're asking their questions, and you appear credible right off the bat with this agent. And so that's kind of the importance of having that structure, having that structure with your business, which includes like the phone order. You have to be very specific with your services. So you're organized with that. Having a structure for your vacant services, what you're offering with that. Having a structure, obviously, for your order forms when a seller calls, a realtor calls, a builder's calling you, all of those things. Having a process for your walkthroughs. You're not just, when you go to a client's home and you're doing a walk and talk with them on a consultation, you're telling them the things they need to do. Wouldn't it be great to actually have a process to that, a form, so you can highlight, check, underline instead of a blank notepad, right? Contracts. You need to have a contract, especially for your vacant jobs. And of course, checklists so that you know what to bring, right? So process makes perfect. And that is what I found. The successful stagers know exactly what to do next. Here's another before and after photo, because I just love, as you know, to throw those things in. There is a process for tackling rooms. It just doesn't happen, immediately. And one thing I teach is an 8-step process in each room so that buyers feel home. And when you're educating a client on that process, they get it. So leads me to number 4. Number 4, successful stagers know when to say no. Know what you can and cannot take on in your business. So even if you're thinking about staging, and I have a lot of people, they're like, maybe I'll call an agent and see, and they talk to a friend who's an agent. By the way, the friends will never believe that you can, do something new. Sometimes they're the naysayers. So you don't market to your friends. You market to other people, but basically, because they'll kind of they'll say, oh, can you do this? I don't know if you can. You got to know what you can and cannot take on. And if you have a client that's not giving you the whole story or not giving you the full information, that's not the right client. If they're questioning your process and your rates right off the bat aggressively, that's not the right client. If they can't spare you the time of the phone interview, remember how I showed you that order form? That's for you to screen them as much as they are maybe screening you, right? If they don't have the time for a little bit of phone interview to tell you a little bit about that home, that may not be the right client. Don't waste your time. Negative, aggressive, arrogant, whiny, those are not your clients. How many of you in the chat room, go ahead and put it, have you ever dealt with I call them red flag clients? And if you can identify those red flag clients in the beginning, and I want to encourage you, there may be 1% of the people that you run into with your business, smallest 1%, but that 1% will cause you 80% of your headache. So if you can identify that 1%, Kimberly says, yes. If you can identify that 1% and just say that they're not a fit, you're saving 80% of your headache. So that's what good stagers do. They know their people. And the truth is, I believe in the law of attraction. If they have an unreasonable time frame, expectations, don't be afraid to say no. I always say, that wasn't your person. Don't let that get you down. It's just not your person. Not everyone's my person. I know that. Some people on this line, this is why I do these webinars, so you can see my training style. This is my training style. I do a lot of visuals. I do voice. I do visual, I do training manual. I want you to see, touch, hear, feel, the whole works. That's not for everyone. Some people don't like that training style, and I get it. It's not my person. So don't be afraid to say no. Here's another before photo. And I love this because this is a really low budget client. So before, and you say the most important thing that they needed to do was, paint and wallpaper. So they had to keep the items, but it still looks 100% better. Donna Panko, this is one of her jobs, and I love it, before and after photo. But the really great stagers, you know what they do have, they all have in common, is a really great website. And when you have a great website, here's the thing. We are in the image industry, when you look great online, people don't ask the question. Somebody in the chat room said, yes, someone asked them how long they've been in business. They don't ask it when you look great online. Websites are like iPhones, they date. So if you're a veteran stager and your website was done even 2 years ago or 3 years ago, do you still have your iPhone from 3 years ago? I hate to say it, and it's so much work, but I'm always updating my site. That's also the difference. If you're shopping for staging trainings, make sure they have an up-to-date site. That's a good idea of whether their materials are up to date. Things are changing quickly. We're in a very fast-paced industry, design, real estate, internet. Be selective about your portfolio photos. Always swap those out. Always put the best ones up. And you don't even need more than 10. That's the beauty of it. A lot of people say, how do I get started in staging? I don't even have a portfolio. Do a room in your own home. I don't care. People need to see the way you work. Your story will resonate, so be personal. Real quick in the chat room, Linda, how do you get random people to go to your website? Don't worry, Linda, I'm going to talk about that here when I get to marketing. I'll walk you through. Molly, said the same thing. When you're just starting, it's scary to say no. What if that's your only client? It won't be, Molly, when you do a good marketing. I'm going to walk you through how to do a great marketing process. And when you get a lot of people calling, then you can say no to clients. All right, so let's get back to your website. Your story needs to resonate, so be personal. People want personal online. Originally, I wouldn't have said that 5 years ago. People didn't want personal. They wanted professional, but now they want personal. Everything is changing online. Make it easy for your clients to contact you, whether it's having your social media up there, your email, your telephone. Create interest and make sure you capture leads on your website. I'm going to walk you through that. And you have to have location keywords, SSL for Google Love. And that might be a little bit techie stuff, but basically you want Google to like your site and to get to the top. This is an example of one of the sites that we do. We do have a website product that is for stagers. And in about a day, I walk people through how to change the text, change the social, add their logo, change out these photos if they want, and their phone number. And they're done. Their business is launched in a day. And I've always had those websites because I never want a website. We talked about that fear, the finances, the timing, because I know it takes months sometimes to create a website. That's all off the table. When I do have a website product, I've always had that with my training. Because at the end of the day, you are your brand. People will buy from you. I told you, the law of attraction. Embrace you. Embrace you as your brand. You have a relatable story wherever you came from. People love the stories, and it will fit into staging. Even if your relatable story is you've been redecorating your room since you were a kid, that's relatable. You're following your passion. People can respect that. Be consistent in that branding. Have confidence in that law of attraction. Use social media to get your brand, which is you, in front of your clients. I'm going to show you how people do that because people buy from who they know and they like and they trust. And confidence is key. And confidence, I know, is not easy. You are your brand, so you have to invest in your inner boss rock star. So how do you build confidence? Because I knew that was going to be the first thing somebody's going to say in the chat room. How do I get confidence? I'm nervous. And I get it, right? I've been there. Everybody has been there. You need that process and structure. I walked you through that. When you know exactly what you're going to do next in every situation, guess what? You feel pretty confident. You need the design knowledge, right? You need to know how to explain. One of the things that I do have in my training, they're called design modules. Every day of the training, there's a pretty large design module filled with photos to walk people through how to explain the art of what you do. Because I know that you intuitively can go into a room and just, you know what you're doing. But when you can explain that to clients, they really believe you. Real estate knowledge will help. And that's just looking, understanding where to get the knowledge that you need, working with the agent, access, support, and resources. And vendors, those are all things, that a training provides. And that's why I was kind of talking about not a training, my training. And it starts with automated systems. So we talked about the marketing. A couple of you had questions on how do you get clients? You are paid according to your time. So your time matters. You don't want to be picking up phone, making phone calls, or visiting real estate offices all the time over and over again. I know that's kind of an old school way of marketing. Still works, face-to-face matters, but there is a way to automate your marketing as much as possible. I totally believe in automation, simplicity, and systems. And here's what it looks like. And I know you're going to be like, what? But it's not as confusing as you may think. Starts with a Facebook ad. A Facebook ad, a lot of people don't know this. I have been training on Facebook. I spoke on Facebook ads at the RESA convention, I think 3 years ago. And if stagers all listened to me then, they'd be, millionaires. But okay, teasing. Starts with a Facebook ad because you can target only agents in your area if you want for an ad. Or you can only target sellers in your area for an ad. Or you can target people who are thinking about remodeling. Yes, Facebook knows when people are thinking about remodeling in an area. That's 3 different ads that you can target by giving them something valuable. You can target, let's say, color. People who are thinking, again, the remodeling. I have this on my blog, a paint color cheat sheet. You can actually go to my blog and fill it out and get it, and you can even tailor it to your business. Where, let's say your ad is doing a remodel, know what paint colors will add thousands to the resale value of your home. Download my free paint color cheat sheet. How great does that sound, right? Do you think someone's going to click? Yeah, they will. So you've got that awesome giveaway on your website. Then they become a fan. Your credibility is, created because you're going to stay in touch. You're going to give them some good stuff, and you get referrals, and clients are born. I included this link. It's also in your notes. I show you really quickly how to do that in a video, step by step, but it's not as hard as it seems, and it's working really well. But you have to step out of your comfort zone a little bit in sales, right? Do something that scares you. So this leads me to Donna's story, who I absolutely love, because she was the one who was in your shoes in my webinar last October. And she sent me this email in February, right after she launched her business in January. She just said already she was over the hump. She signed up for the training. She had a few success stories. She has already had 4 clients in a month. She had 2 staging jobs due to her Facebook marketing, which I walked her through in my training. Each of those turned into full-day staging jobs, because remember, I told you guys with the money, you position it, she positioned it, she followed my training, turned into staging jobs, and then she was hired to do a commercial space, which she made over $4,000 alone on. How cool is that? You can go ahead and put that in the chat room if you think that's pretty cool. I did too. And here's what her site looks like. Basically, she took the materials that we give. You can see from her site, the logos, the statistics. She added a little forum. Realtors, are you tired of sellers who don't stage their home? Here's what you need to give them. And she just used what I give in my training. It's a handout, a top dollar guide. Download the PDF. And those are the agents that are now calling her. Fast forward to April. My business is exploding, lots of staging consultations, full-day staging jobs, shopping for accessories. This is the coolest story, which I love. She got a call from 2 agents in her neighborhood who wanted her to stage exclusively for all of their sellers. So this is what I train in, how to create those realtor partnerships. I always say, if you have 5 agents, just a handful, that are giving you all their listings, guys, a year from now, you're not marketing yourself. That's part of this automation, which is so cool. And our industry, that's what's so cool about this industry. It's not, staging is easy to market. I have a lot of interior designers who kind of struggle with marketing, who jump into staging, and the next thing you know, their business is booming. Anyway, back to her story. Those agents want her to give a 60-minute staging consultation for $200 without a written report. She doesn't even need to do a written report. And they each have 12 to 20 homes a month. So you do the math, 20 homes a month, each times 200. And she's just loving it. And she's just astonished. And that's just cool. But that's the beauty. I get emails like this a lot. Guys, it's not alone. Leah, I told you about Leah, who started a year and a half ago. I saw her in my news feed, the Daily Mail, and she had staged this island home. How cool is that? So staging is hot. It's exciting to be in it. And at the end of the day, if you were on this call and you're just like, oh, I don't know, if you don't build your dreams, someone will hire you to build yours. I learned this the hard way, guys. I was laid off from my job years ago. That's what prompted me to start my first internet marketing business. And that's the truth. Entrepreneurship is not that hard. And this leads me to my last offer, which is for my staging training. Never offer discounts. I mentioned our prices are going up. We're changing to a new price system and getting that dialed in. Here we go. Get $50 off of our training. So the course, and you can see it's a 3-week course, but it's self-paced. It's at your own pace. You have a year membership, and you can even renew if you like it, to continue your access. But you can see we cover everything you need to know. All those things that I mentioned are in the training. There's nothing, because I've had the beauty, it's online training, so I've been fortunate. I'm always able to add to it, tweak it, evolve it. So the things that I mentioned, like a cheat sheet that Donna uses for her sexy, call to actions on her website, I have those. And we have them in different colors, and they look beautiful because we want you to look beautiful. So imagine what it would take you to create a couple cheat sheets like this on your own. Not easy, right? We have all your pricing, your services coordinated for you for both occupied and vacant, and we know what you should be kind of charging based on your pricing. We have the order forms; they're all there. And when I say we have all the forms that we give you in Word, they're in Word, so that you can just download and customize them to your business. The walkthrough guides we provide for you, the contracts we provide for you. We're basically like a franchise, giving you everything you need to be successful in this industry. I've trained the most successful stagers in the industry. I'm really proud of that, because this is just going to save you oodles of time. The checklists, I mean, the months and months of time for people. I just added this one. I thought this was kind of a fun one. This is for you to give your agents, for them to use in their listing presentations, so that they can recommend your business. And we created a few variations of that. So we're always adding things to the training. It's A to Z training. We have an 800 number for support. You can always refer back to it. And that is the secret to online training success, is you want to be able to always refer back to the classroom. So imagine this webinar on replay, but imagine I'm showing you how to do something. I'm walking you through the home, or I'm walking you through what you need to do to research the agent. You can always go back to it. And that's what people have found is so successful. The very first person who signed up for my training almost 15 years ago is still a member referring back to it. And you get a hard copy manual. Someone lay, where do I sign? Well, there's just what I mentioned. There's the offer. Hopefully you guys see that. Click on that button. That way at least it'll open it to a separate window so that you can kind of see if this is for you. Let me go back to that. Kelly says, can you sign up later? Yeah, open that up though, because it'll stay up. I'm going to keep these offers up. They will be expiring, because obviously this is a live webinar. This is probably my last one for the summer. I don't know when I'm going to do another one. And so you'll want to just keep that up. You've got a couple days till Friday, 4 p.m. on Friday. So what is that? 48 hours. Here's a testimonial I just got that I love to share from Nakia. She started her business on pure passion. And a lot of you guys on this phone call said, I just have pure passion. That's it. She didn't know anything about running a business. She had a lot of questions and no answers. She researched my program for 9 months. I'm sure some of you are in this, have been probably on my webinars for a long time. She looked at lots of trainings, but of course she found stagers who were my grads, who were doing well, which I love. And then all her questions are answered, which I love. She just wishes she did it a long time ago, which is so true. So this is the one thing I do here is their only regret is they wish they started this earlier. You know, life is short. I showed you those photos of my kids and it feels like I blinked and yesterday they were babies and today they're older. If this is what you love, if this is your passion, entrepreneurship is not easy, but I walk you through it. I make it easy for you. And sometimes all you need to do is start by starting. And I'll say, I see some questions. I'm going to get to your questions in just a bit. Give me your passion, 30 days and $900, and I'm going to show you how to create a successful business. All right. Jolie, what if I never rearranged my room as a kid? Jolie, if you love design and you're the go-to person and that's your passion, that's okay. I use that as an example of what a lot of people have done. Are you RESA certified? There's no such thing as RESA certification. We were the first RESA accredited training company. We're one, I think, of only 3. And we're the most expansive one. So yes, you're going through the RESA accredited training, which is really important that you kind of look at that. We're also A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Let me see. Oh, Kelly just paid $1,200 for a 3-day class. I wish you did too, Kelly. I have a lot of people who take our training after going through a training. I'm sorry, they just do, because it's not a 3-day class. We're a 3-week class. So you can only imagine all the resources. And when I say 3 weeks, I'm serious about it. My members will agree that first week is intensive boot camp. Linda, I do have payment plans on our website, homestagingresource.com, but you don't get the discount on the payment plan. The discount is just for the price off. So you can open that window and think about it. Let me see. Do stagers need to carry insurance? I have a recommended insurance provider who can answer those questions for stagers. A lot of it depends on their business model and how much they have to lose, right? With vacant staging, if you have a lot of furnishings going into a home, you're going to want those to be covered. Where do I click for the one-time offer? It should be there. You should be seeing those offers. Hopefully it's, in there. Click for the discount. Hopefully you guys see that offer there. Click on that. The website examples are on our website. Absolutely. We have like 10 and they're beautiful, but you can completely customize and change them out, which is cool. The training is the classroom is online, and this is the beauty of a classroom being online, because if you took the three-day course and life happened to you, like you got busy or you went on vacation, a month later you're like, what did I learn in my class? I can't remember. You're scrambling through your notes. You will never do that in my class. You're just going to go back online and go right back to that section, and you can rewatch and rewatch. I have members who rewatch my videos over and over again, especially the consultation one, because they'll learn about it and then they get their first consultation, they get a little pep talk back on the consultation video. I do teach the best way to acquire staging furniture and accessories. Absolutely, Lisa. And I have over 100 vendors who want to give you trade discounts. So one of the benefits to jumping into my training is you get designer discounts to a lot of trade vendors, your favorite places to shop, like Pottery Barns and Ballards and Williams and Sonoma. Yes, Rashini, you can pay now and start in July. In fact, I recommend you're going to get the best deal now. And then you can start at any time. In fact, I have a lot of people who do that because the classroom's online and you have a year to get through the 3 weeks of training. Don't worry, Nicole, if you don't have portfolio photos. I walk you through in the training how to pick the best name for your business, because a lot of people make a mistake with their business name and their domain. And I walk you through how to do your portfolio, how to build it. Oh, Jill said, oh, thank you, Jill. She took my training. It's the best training. Thank you for that, Jill. Wasted money. The website, homestagingresource.com. In the early example, okay, how do I know if staging is in demand? Margaret, great question. Miami. I have not seen a market saturated with home stagers yet. I've seen, how many in every person's market, there's thousands of or hundreds of agents, and I've yet to see a market that have, hundreds of stagers. And even in a market that has a lot of stagers, there's so much business, because I mentioned the business model I teach is you start with staging, it goes to design, and design is growing and building. And my marketing approach, like I said, will keep you busy, busy, busy. But how do you know? You can go to realtor.com and look at homes in your area and ask yourself if they could benefit from staging. That's what I always tell people to do. Yes, you can take, once you buy the class, you have access for a year, and you can take it anytime you're ready to jump in. I have people who take the year. I have people who get through it in the 3 weeks. I have people who get through it faster than that because they can't put it down. I have people who take 3 months. So it's all included, and everything you'll need is in that price, $900. Not the website. The website is separate. Obviously, you can't build a website, but everything else. You can add the website at any time. The website's $499, and it includes hosting. So it's a heck of a deal, and we only offer that site to our members because we don't make money on it. Any other questions? Somebody, I'm sorry, I was trying to look at some of these. Yes, it's at your own pace. That's the beauty of it. If you go into business with another person, yeah, Leslie, you know what? I love partners. I actually feature a lot of partners in my stories, and partners get a discount. So one of you can buy today at the $900, and the next partner, if she wants to go through the certification, go through the training, which she'll probably want to for credibility too. Having a certification gives you instant credibility. It does. I'm not going to lie. It's only half the cost for the partner. Partner's only $470. You can add a partner. I have a lot of my members who are now adding employees at $470, which is kind of cool. You do get this certificate upon completion. There is a test at the end. It's very, it's kind of based on the manual. It's making sure you really understand your story and the process. And it's not, I'm not here to just rack people's brains and make it super difficult. But then you get your certificate after you take the test. Nicole, what if you have no experience? Guess what, Nicole? Most people who started the staging business never had any experience. It's like starting a new job, but it's okay. You'll learn a lot. One thing I have to say is I interview people once they've started the training. So right away, if you've bought the training, you're going to get an interview form from me. And in every case, people say they're excited. If you're feeling excitement, but nervous, afraid they don't have the confidence. That's what every person says, that they're nervous and excited when they join my training. At the end of the training, once they get their certificate, I talk to them. Every single person has said they have confidence. They're still excited. They're excited about their business and about the industry, but now they have confidence moving forward with their business and they know they're set up for success. Kristen, could it be successful in a small town? Absolutely, Kirsten. I actually have two different marketing plans, one for people who are in more metro area and one for people that are in more rural areas. And I walk you kind of through how to market your business in either, because I know it's not a one size fits all for marketing. Very excited. Look, I love it. Yes, Norma, I'm going to send you the webinar replay, and I'm going to send you an email with the follow-up with the replay and the discount links. But I'm glad you opened up to think about it, but you're going to love it. I don't have anyone not love the training. Yeah, finding movers, storage spaces, helpers. Yes, Beth, we walk you through. I have a whole day on vacant staging, at least, with all the resources, and walk you through how to provide it, how to price it, all that great stuff. Besides the cost of the program, is there an additional fee for membership? No, there's not. That's the great thing. It's all inclusive. I'm very different than other trainings that kind of nickel and dime you. Like you buy something from them and the next thing you know, they're selling you. No, I mean, I have the color training that's separate. That's just for people who love color. I have a lot of people who do both because they want a consultation-based business model. So it's just a lot of, training. But no, you don't. It's if you want to renew your membership, once you get your certification, you always have your certification. I'm different that way too. I'm not like a training company that says you need to renew your certification. You don't. It's like your bachelor's degree. You don't renew that every year, right? But if you want to renew your membership so that you continue to have access to me and the training and the resources we're always adding in there, and also in our directory is highly trafficked. It's $250 a year. And you can make that decision, a business decision later. Yeah, I have suggestions for stagers who are physically limited on heavy lifting. In fact, Catherine, I walk you through, you should not be doing any heavy lifting, no heavy lifting. That's okay. We are not meant to do the heavy lifting. And I walk you through how to model your business so you're not doing that. Sherry, yes, you will get the replay. I do have hands-on training. So we do have another hands-on training for people if they go through my 3-week training and they want to have a job shadow day. I have so many successful veteran stagers across the country. We connect you with them. There's an extra cost because we are paying them to give you a great day. But I find that most people who just go through my 3-week training don't need the hands-on, because trust me, it's a lot. All right, you guys were great. I love this. If you have any other questions, of course, that's what we're here for. We have an 800 number. You can even call us tomorrow. You can email me. You're going to get emails from me. And thank you so much. I'm going to go to this. All right. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed you. We're a great group. So many great questions. I loved talking to you. And, oh, somebody, last question. No, there's no continuing education credits. I'm not here to nickel and dime you, Karen. It's not like a real estate. It's once you get it, it's yours. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate your time. I want you to know it's a privilege to be in front of you, and I know it's not easy to take the time. Thank you. I love that Amy said she loved the CCE training. And enjoy the rest of your night, you guys. I hope to see you come aboard. I'd love to work with you. If your timing's not right, I totally get it. And hopefully I'll be able to work with you eventually. It's a great industry. You'll love it. And for those of you who are signing up or have decided to jump in, this is an awesome industry. You will love it.